In the desire for wellness, it sounds as you make it clear then it's to pay attention to our insides and we will know, and not be attached to any particular belief system, but to trust that inner belief of, okay, I need to...
Your desire for wellness has already been established, especially if you've been sick. In other words, to be very long in this physical world, your desire for wellness is powerful enough to keep you healthy and strong for 20 or 30 lifetimes. In other words, just your interaction with contrast gives birth to enough desire that the source energy part of you has accepted on so many levels of your being what you want relative to physical wellness and stability and clarity and functioning of your physical body. We have not met a physical human that did not have a vibrational escrow where that body of wellness was emphatically placed, and you continue to contribute to it constantly. In other words, you don't need to worry about the wanting part. What we're saying to you is you don't need to set goals for wellness. You've been incrementally building that model of wellness for a very long time. And source is right there, understanding it completely and emanating the vibration of wellness. So where your work comes in is when you read something in a medical journal, or when you see something advertised, or you hear someone talking about nutrition or toxins or something, and you feel that discomfort in your being as you worry about either your own personal well-being or that of someone you love. As you feel that discomfort, that's your signal that this thought right here and now is upstream, where all the wellness that I want is downstream. And then your simple work is just to find some feeling of relief there. And there are people who would say, well, Abraham, it would certainly be easier to find a feeling of relief if there is not much going on in terms of illness. But what about a parent who is frightened over a terrible diagnosis of their child? How does one find a downstream thought? And we say, it's easier in some situations than others, but the work is always the same. And we're going to say something bold and emphatic. There is no one who could have any disease who could not, in less time than it takes you to learn a computer program, find enough downstream thoughts to turn it around. Because your body wants to be well and knows how to be well, and your source energy is well and is standing in the vibration of that and is calling you to it. But you've got to learn to listen, you see. And so many people think that being well is about not thinking negative thoughts about their physical body. But it's not just not thinking negative thoughts about their physical body, it's about getting off the president's back too. It's about no longer beating the drum of global warming. It's about no longer looking at endangered animals. It's about no longer finding some big axe to grind and constantly grinding it. It's about finding circles of people who are looking at the wouldn't it be nice if instead of the wouldn't it be awful if. In other words, it's a whole new orientation, but we promise you, make that orientation, and not only are you on your way to wellness, but you'll feel relief immediately. Sometimes Esther will say, she will turn something on the television, and Jerry will say, in the most loving terms he can muster under these arduous conditions, why are we watching this? And Esther's excuse is, I want to be informed. And our answer is, why would you want to be informed about things you don't want to live? Because anything you are informed about, if you inform yourself enough that you understand it, you've activated a pretty dominant vibration. And you can tell by the way you feel as you're throwing things at the television screen that it's not downstream. And it's not a vibrational match to who you are. Your inner being isn't enjoying the presentation, you see. And so you have to understand that your inner being isn't this being that's separate and apart from you. Your inner being stands as the full embodiment of who you were before you came forth into this body and who you've become since. In other words, that's the ideal you over there thriving, calling you to it. And the way you know you're doing it is not through a test. It's by an emotional awareness and a determination that I'm going to feel as good as I can feel about this, and I'm going to feel as good as I can feel about this, and I'm going to feel as good as I can feel about this. And sometimes our physical friends will say, well, I will really be odd in my circle. And we say, for a while, and then they'll all go away and you'll have a new circle. And then they say, well, I'm not sure I want this circle to go away. It's my comfortable circle. And we say, well, you may be more comfortable in your disconnection from source until you've tasted your connection to source. But as you begin to taste the sweet feeling of relief that alignment with source is, that becomes your new addiction. I want to be in alignment with who I am. In fact, most people who are addicted to drugs, that's just the shortcut way that they're trying to get to that. Something more?
Yes. It sounds as if, in many cases, what's most toxic perhaps are our thoughts.
Can you hear him? Breathe deeply and let them hear you.
If what I hear you saying is correct, that a lot of what's...
well, it is. Of course it is.
My correct understanding of what you're saying is that probably what may be most toxic is what we think about anything. So
well, we would not go so far to say that you could get really tuned up and then drink Clorox bleach, but we would go so far to say that if you're really tuned up, you wouldn't be stupid enough to drink Clorox bleach.
So it's about focusing on changing thoughts, which is what you consistently teach. That's where the other question comes out, which is, I've heard you say that you would rather see us in a moment of appreciation than in a moment of meditation. And during times when I sit quietly and meditate, I'm finding that I'm having a rampage. And what was originally my intent was to clear thoughts. I'm having moments of rampaging appreciative thoughts. So do I stay in the rampaging appreciative thoughts, or do I... So well, it's still...
Let us clarify our reason for that. We have said we would rather see you in a state of appreciation than in a state of meditation. But we teach meditation because it's easier to teach you to quiet your mind and have no thought than it is to think pure positive thoughts on every subject. So meditation is a bridge that gives you a visceral sensation of what it feels like to be in alignment with source. But it is even more delicious to be in vibrational alignment with source with a fully active complement of thoughts going on in your mind. In other words, when you are allowing yourself to think thoughts while in full connection with source energy, you feel invincible, you feel complete, you feel satisfied, you feel wise, you feel sure, you feel confident, you feel how it feels from your broader non-physical perspective, you see. And so don't try to make it one thing or the other. In other words, what we most want is that you can find every kind of trick in the world to help yourself release resistance. If you are depressed and you find anger, we're rooting for you because we know that that anger has so much less resistance in it than that depression had. If you are frightened and you get really mad, you have turned downstream. In other words, that is an improvement. And this goes back to the first thing that we were saying to you. We want you to be aware of the relationship between where you are and where you want to be so that any slight improvement is satisfaction for you. And so the difference between meditation and appreciation is moving way up the emotional scale. That's the difference between having no thought and therefore no resistance anywhere in your vibration, and then from that non-resistant state, stepping into thoughts that really get your juices flowing. It's the best of all worlds. The other day, Jerry and Esther were in Eugene, Oregon, and they went to a place that they go whenever they're there. It's a wonderful restaurant. And they've been there many, many times over the years. And as they arrive for the first time in the 3 or 4 days that they will be in the area, they're going to eat there every night, they are appreciating the place. It's been newly refurbished. They see several of the old friends that have been there before. Some of the people who just eat there, Jerry and Esther know, and some of the people who are the cooks and the waiters, they know. And so they were having their own little appreciation fest over there as they were glad to be there and feeling the stimulation of being there, the fragrances in the air and the friendliness in the air. And then the waiter put Esther's salad in front of her. And as Esther looked at the salad, she felt shivers move all up through her body. It was orgasmic. It was odd. It was so intense and so vivid. And Esther said, "Whoa, what's in that salad?" And we said to her and to Jerry that what that was about, when you're in that supreme place of appreciation where there's not a ripple of resistance anywhere within you, and then you focus upon something that you feel even more appreciation for, you literally come into alignment with the whole of you. So the whole of Esther was looking at that salad. The whole of Esther was participating in that salad. It was a salad that the cells of her being were reveling in, cellular appreciation for this salad. We're not kidding you. In other words, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, we're not just talking about you being tuned in with the source energy that's enjoying eating a great salad. We're talking about the cells of your body lining up to experience the very best of this. Because, you know, the cells of your body are the reason that you want to eat to begin with. Oh, you have social reasons. There are all kinds of reasons that you want to eat. But the dominant calling for the food that you want to consume, that sensation of hunger and thirst, is activated from a cellular level. And these cells are consciousness who are affected by the vibrational alignment between you and your inner being. So when you've been on an appreciation fest and then you get in a vicinity of food, the cells of your body are now like a chorus that is literally calling for it, you see. And that's what we meant by the thriving. When you are in alignment and the cells of your body are asking for something, they would be happy with almost anything that you would deliver to them. But let's say that what was delivered to you was a plate of something that you don't ordinarily enjoy eating, a plate of worms. They're not that bad. A plate of something that you do not ordinarily want to eat. But the cells of your body, now, the cells of your body are still reveling in the nutrients that are about to be consumed. However, now you have a plate of worms in front of you instead of a beautiful garden salad, and so now your attention to that would put you in a state of resistance, which blocks the relationship between the cells of your body and the food that you're about to consume. So under those conditions, you would not thrive. And that's what we are getting at when we say these aborigines that you're talking about began to not thrive so much once others became critical of their diet. And it's why you as humanity are thriving less on food that you used to thrive on as more people become critical of what you're eating. So that most people do 100% of their eating in a state of resistance. Because almost everything you eat is something that at some level of your conscious awareness you believe you should not be eating.
Yes.
It has too much of this or too much of this or too much of this. You've become so smart about your food.
The thoughts again is what we
You
think
become
about.
so smart about what you should not eat that you are blocking the communication between the cells of your body who would still do fine on it. You say, very good. We've arranged for worms to be delivered to all of you.
I had nothing to do with it. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.